Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, I am very happy to be showing you the NECA quarter scale Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Donatello from the live action movie, which was fantastic, and now we have a fantastic figure to go with it. I have to say, this guy is very impressive. There are many things about this that are very, very good. There are a few things that are worth mentioning that may not be quite so good, but by and large, it's a very, very nice figure, so I'm happy to show it to you. So let's go ahead and just get him off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about 17 inches, almost exactly. I know you can't see that on camera, but trust me, it's just shy of 17 inches, which makes him just about 43 and a half centimeters. So he definitely has some size, and if you guys remember the movie, you know that they're not supposed to be exceptionally tall. They're supposed to be a little bit shorter than your average person, so being shy of 18 inches is perfectly fine. That is A-okay. And you might notice this guy looks fantastic. There's tons of detail. The sculpt work is great. There's sculpt everywhere. There's no smooth spots that aren't supposed to be. He's got the nice little turtle texture, the little reptile skin everywhere. All of the straps and wraps and pads have very nice detailing. It's very, very impressive, and the likeness is fantastic. It's really good. So I've heard some people complain about the nose or the beak, saying that it sticks out too much or it's too pointy. It's not. In the first movie, he looked exactly like this, and in one of the very first scenes when they're waiting for the pizza in the sewer in the very beginning, he makes a face almost identical to this, and it looks just like it with the little pursed lip area over here and the overbite. It's very, very accurate. It doesn't always stand out quite this much in the film. I mean, when he's talking or making other faces, it's a little bit less pronounced, but that's perfectly fine. I mean, this is going to make him stand out amongst the other turtles once we have the other three, so I am very okay with that. I'm very, very happy. Before we get into the figure anymore, though, let's talk accessories. We have a total of 7 hands. We have the 2 gripping hands, 2 thumbs up hands, 2 kind of looser gripping hands, secondary type of hands, and then 1 significantly looser hand. We also have his bow staff, which can be inserted onto the back of his harness. We have a slice of pizza, which is surprisingly well detailed, and then we have the canister of ooze, which has the radioactive material label on one side and the TCRI label on the other. Now, the interesting thing about this is it did not say TCRI in the first movie. It only had the other side showing, and TCRI was what it was prior to the second movie, which is when it became TGRI. So technically this isn't inaccurate. Some people are not happy that it's TCRI, even though in the movie it was the G, but that's okay. I don't think it really matters, and I assume if they do a second one, assuming there's no licensing issues, they will do the G instead of the C, but it doesn't really make a difference as far as I'm concerned. So very nice accessories, all very well detailed, so that's really good. Now, it's worth noting this guy does have some cloth on him. The bandana is cloth on the back only. The front part that's on his face is just your standard sculpt, and it's very nice. It's made out of like a spandex material, which is known for not fraying on the ends, so that's really good. It does seem maybe there's a bit too much material. I know they were kind of bulky in the movie, but this is kind of a lot, but it's fine. I mean, once you bunch it up and put it where you want it, it's really not an issue, so that's good. And it looks nice up against the sculpted part. It doesn't really stand out as being a break, so that's pretty cool. And then we have the strap around the chest and the belt, which is really nice, and then the part where the staff goes in is also cloth, and those are all movable, so you can adjust those. All of the wrist pads and straps and elbows and everything, that's all sculpted, and it's very nice. It's a softer material, so it won't get in the way too much, and you can move those around a little bit, so that's cool. Now, as far as the paint goes on this guy, overall, it's really good. You can see throughout all of the skin tones, there's a ton of different shading. We have the lighter green, the darker green, and then some black shading, and even some hints of yellow here and there, and even some brown. We do have the speckling or the spots on this guy, which is kind of interesting because they were very, very subtle in the first movie. He did not have very noticeable spots. They existed, but nowhere near as much as the second movie, and then not even close to as much as in the third movie, which we'd rather not remember. So maybe it's a little bit inaccurate that the spots are as vibrant as they are, but to me it's not really a deal breaker because they do end up having them in the second movie, so it's not so bad. I don't mind it. The one thing that does Kind of bug me a bit is the spots on the head seem a little bit too pronounced, but when it's not under the harsh lighting, it really shouldn't be an issue, and it doesn't look bad. It's just I think maybe they're a bit too heavy, but that's about it. Otherwise, it's pretty good. One thing to note, mine is missing a black spot for this brown spot over here, which I'm guessing is not going to be a common issue, but that brown spot should have a black spot in the middle, so it's a bit of a bummer. I've heard some people say the eyes are crossed. They're really not. Mine's slightly off center on this one, but it's okay. I think it's anytime you have the overhanging bandana or the cowl, it makes the eyes look crossed, so I really wouldn't worry about it. I think you're going to be okay. It's going to be fine. And I like the way they painted the shell going across the back here because that's pretty much accurate to the movie. There is some nice texturing and shading in the shell, front and back as well. Very, very pleased with this guy overall. Now, as far as the articulation goes, the head is on, I'm not sure if it's a single or a double. It doesn't have the best range of motion. Now, it could be just because mine is stuck. I don't know. But it doesn't want to move that much. Now, I'm thinking it's a double because when I first got it, it was slightly offset. It's a double ball peg as far as I'm concerned, but it's very, very stiff. You only get a little bit of motion side to side. You can rotate it pretty well. It takes a little bit of force, so be careful. You may want to heat it up, but it does move around. It's just very stiff, so do be aware of that. In terms of looking up and down, that's as high as I can get it to go up, and then when I bring it down, that's as low as I can get it. So it's not a bad range. It's just not maybe the most dynamic. I think maybe if you heat it up, you'll be able to do a little bit better. So I wouldn't worry about it, but don't expect it to be incredibly dynamic. Now for the shoulders, we do have our ball hinge, which you would expect. There's no bicep swivel built in, so it's a fixed hinge on this side, and then of course it rotates on this side. So it'll rotate all the way around, pretty much unobstructed, so that's pretty cool. You can bring the arm out. It takes a little bit of force. Can't get it higher than that. I do wish we could go maybe horizontal with it, and I think they maybe could have done that, but here's why they didn't, or here's why it can't go. And that is simply for, simply for the aesthetic. It's very stiff, but that's a good thing. If they wanted to go farther, they'd have to have a cutout here in the shoulder. So that's why it's not like that. If you wanted the range, it would look less good, so I think that's a fair trade-off. But you still get good enough range. Again, no bicep swivel. I wish they had a traditional bicep swivel in there, but it does make for a nice aesthetic, so I'll give it to them. You do get your bicep swivel out of the elbow joint, though, which is not uncommon. We see that more and more these days. It is a double jointed elbow. You can see both parts of the hinge in there if you really stretch it. So it'll bend here, and both sides will swivel, and this is technically a floating elbow pad. Now, it doesn't have the best range. I wish the elbow pad afforded just a little bit better, but it's stiff enough that it holds it back, but you can get 90, so I'm very happy with that. I think 90 is definitely enough. You can probably force it even a little bit more if you wanted to, so no big deal. Now, I mentioned in my haul video one thing that I was not really concerned about, but, well, I guess you could say concerned. In the movie, Donatello and Raphael both have this weird tricep muscle. Michelangelo and Leonardo do not. They have a much more traditional, anatomically correct for a human bicep-tricep area. So I'm wondering if they're going to use this same sculpt for everybody or if it's going to be universal across the bunch. I would be incredibly impressed if they do different bicep sculpts to make it completely accurate. If not, it's no big deal, but it's something worth noting since it is a thing in the movie. Now, you're probably wondering what kind of torso articulation we have, and that's a good question. I believe it's a single ball peg, but usually they use double ball pegs, so I'm gonna go with that, but it doesn't have the motion, at least as far as I can get, to be a double. It does lean side to side a little bit. You can rotate it around a little bit, but none of it really wants to, it's just kind of there. It does lean forward and back some too. But because of the shell, even though the shell is kind of soft, it doesn't really want to go anywhere. So it's there, but it's almost useless and almost pointless, but it's not really a fault because of the shell. You can't really do much with it. Now, how it's handled is the entire shell, stay out of the way. The entire shell is a separate piece, so it'll just move around as you move the torso of the figure, and it can't really go anywhere. So you're just going to have pretty limited torso articulation, which I think is fine for a Ninja Turtle. I mean, there's only so much you can do and make it look good, so I'm okay with that. Now, for the hips, Well, I guess I should talk about the wrists before we move on. For the wrists, we have your standard peg because they're interchangeable hands. It's a straight peg that goes into the forearm, and then you also have the hinge. And it's worth noting that the hands are a fairly soft plastic, so you don't really have any trouble having him hold his accessories. It's very nice. I love that. Too many figures these days can't hold their accessories, and this guy can, so that's a good thing. Now, for the waist and for the hips, there is technically some play in the lower body, but it's kind of just because the whole body moves around in the shell, so I wouldn't really worry about that too much. But the hips themselves are your standard T-jointed ball hinge hips. You can get the leg out there all the way, impressively far. So if you want to put him in a kick pose, you can do it. It's just going to be a little difficult getting the rest of the torso to line up with him, but all the way out to the side, no problem at all. You can bring it back a little bit, and then you can bring it forward before it hits the shell, just about that far, which isn't too bad. And I think you can bring it, yeah, you can bring it up even farther. So you can really move this guy pretty much however you want to. Very impressive. And if you look at how it folds the shell, it's almost not even noticeable. It's just like it did it in the movie, which was very impressive for that also. And then you have your thigh swivel in there, which works very nicely. No complaints at all with that. For the knee articulation, I do have some complaints with this one. We do have a hinge here, which will also swivel, though I don't think you really need it. And then you have another hinge down here, but as far as I can tell, the knee pad itself is connected to the lower part rather than the middle part. So when you bend the knee, you can't really get it to go that far, and the knee pad goes down rather than staying in the middle. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. I haven't tried to take it apart to check. I think it would have been better, if what I said was true, I think it would have been better for this to be stuck to this middle part right here, but it's not a deal breaker by any means, of course. That's just something we have to point out. Since this is a review, it still looks fine, obviously. It's just something worth noting. So if you leave it normal, if you leave it straight, they look perfect. I mean, I can't get over how good this is. Then lastly, for the ankle, we have our standard double ball peg, which, again, it could be a single. I don't know. I can't quite tell. But they get decent range. Definitely not the most range in the world, but you can move them around pretty well, so you really shouldn't have any trouble. And again, I just want to comment on how nice the sculpt is on this thing. The anatomy, especially the legs, I think are particularly impressive. It's just so nice. I can't get over how good this figure is for the price point and how much you get with the accessories and the paint and the sculpt. You really can't beat it. It's just, NECA impresses me almost every single time they release a figure. And when it's not impressive, it's still acceptable, so I honestly don't know how they make a business out of what they're doing. It's like they're giving us stuff basically for free. I mean, yeah, we're paying $100 for something like this, but look at what you're getting. I really just can't get over it. And this thing is a perfect example of why NECA is one of my favorite companies, if not my favorite company, out of all the action figure companies. So there it is, guys. I love it. It's not just my Ninja Turtle fanboy, which I'm really not a Ninja Turtle fanboy. I just like the Turtles. But it's not that. It's just a really quality figure. Could things be improved here and there? Sure. That's going to be the case with any high-value, high-quality figure for such a low price point. That's a given. But this thing's fantastic. I absolutely love it. I can't wait to get the other ones. And I think you guys should definitely scoop them up as soon as you can. They should be available on Big Bed Toy Store any day now. So check the link in the description below and you might be able to get yourself one on pre-order. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up every single day. If you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and click that button. And if you have, make sure you click that bell so that you can turn on notifications, because YouTube's done lost their mind. They're unsubscribing people. You're not going to see my videos if you don't click that bell, so make sure you do that. I don't know why they're doing it, but you want to do that. And you also want to give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. I would really appreciate that, and it helps me out a whole bunch. So make sure you subscribe, and in the meantime, keep collecting.